Hey, so June 2025, I posted this reel about my prop design work in my latest project. And the comments were something that I did not expect. So I have a question for you 3D artists. Are y'all okay? Who hurt you? In the 3 years I have worked as a 3D artist for games, not once have I received a concept that clean and consistent. As a 3D modeler, you're making me cry. If someone provided me details and references like this, then the 3D work would be so much more enjoyable. As a 3D artist, I can't stress enough how important this is for us. As a 3D modeler, I love you. As a 3D artist, yeah. Back when I was working for Sony Pictures during my second year of school, I gained a lot of knowledge as they got me doing many props. My whole portfolio is basically filled with really good work, but I just can't show it yet since it's under NDA. So anyway, I was able to learn how does my concept art go from a 2D drawing to a 3D model, and what to include so this happens successfully. By the time I was on third year at school and doing my thesis, I wanted to take advantage of this experience, so I put a lot of work on my props and their respective breakdowns. Okay, well, just recently, someone texted me saying that they grabbed one of my props and they actually turned it into a 3D model, just for fun, particularly this one, and the result was so f***ing cool. What surprised me the most was that I had no communication whatsoever with this person, yet they still managed to, successfully translate my design into something 3D. So I thought about making this video explaining how to design props properly. No pun intended. How to design them properly so that if you ever land a gig like this, you'll know how to do an excellent job, just like I did. Now, for those of you who are new, the animation industry has a very specific pipeline. Most don't realize that animation movies are extremely difficult to do and they required a solid budget if you want a decent result. There is no place for ego in this pipeline because it's a highly collaborative process. You gotta keep in mind that the way that you do things and how do you do your work will directly affect whoever is coming after you. More often than not, productions and artists and directors actually prefer people who are easy to work with and very communicative and people who can meet deadlines. Those are the most important things, receptive to feedback, etc., etc. I used to think it was extremely important to be the best and most talented artist to succeed, but I learned knowing this triangle is way more important. You need at least two of these three qualities. Either you're really talented and extremely good at teamwork but not so efficient, or extremely talented and efficient but not good in teamwork, or very efficient and good at teamwork but not so talented. You get the point. As visual development artists and designers, our job most of the time is not just to make things pretty but to make them functional. We need to give the most amount of information possible in our concepts so that the people who receive them will be able to do their jobs properly. By people, I mean 3D artists, animators, riggers, etc. Or even executives, so that they can choose to give it green light or cancel it. For my project, I did 3 main props and I broke them down under most essential parts. So let's say you have your idea and sketches, which in my case was incredibly difficult because I'm one of the most indecisive people on this planet. So what you're seeing right now are the options that I kinda liked the most. The first step is to rotate the prop. You have to draw it in all views, and by this I mean the views that will show the most amount of information. This can be either front and back and sides, or 3/4 front and 3/4 back. Now, most of the times this is easy if we're talking about simple shapes, right? But what if it's a DIY oxygen mask embedded into a demon mask? Then things get complex, right? Okay, I'm gonna show you guys something, but you promise me to keep it a secret. Alright, so you're gonna look up, wait, hold on. I used to put internet keyboard sounds on my videos whenever I typed something, but ever since I got this keyboard, I think I'm gonna start recording my own sounds. I'm so in love. So anyway, you can look up Pixel Squid Shutterstock and then think about literally any object that you can. Type it and they will probably have it fully rotated. It's insane. You can later use this as a reference for your own designs. This right here is using technology for your advantage, not like AI. Now in my case, I was having an incredibly difficult time figuring out the interior of the mask and how to draw all that, so I had to pull some image references from the website from a random mask that I used as a layout, as a starting point to then, figure out the rest. One of the most important things is that you have to make sure the prop stays consistent throughout all views. You can have a slight variations, but overall it should rotate seamlessly. Gotta flex your shape skills here. Alright, you have your really cool prop illustrated, looking very nicely on all rotations. Now what? See these little things here? They actually have a function in the story, and as such, they are considered separate geos, which stands for a geometric shape. basically a separate 3D model. Anything that has its own function, whether it be to rotate, turn, flip, push, etc., should be treated as a separate geo. So what we gotta do is draw it separately, show its function and what we don't normally see in the regular view. For example here, I don't know what the bottom looks like, and it cannot just be flat, especially if it's gonna be visible to the public, to the audience. And if I don't know it, then the 3D artist doesn't know either, so I gotta design that as well. Here's another similar example with another mask. The little oxygen capsule is supposed to be replaced to come out, so it's essential that I include a version showing how the space looks but without it. What is the design without it? So why do we have to do all this? Because most of the time, these concepts are going to be sent to another studio. They have their own artists who are going to be working on these concepts, on your concepts, and they're going to be turning them into props. Usually this is outsourced. That means that these studios are overseas, anywhere else. And obviously you cannot be having infinite emails, messages, or calls. So, your template with your prop and your information needs to be like very well done so that they can do it smoothly. Let's go to this other prop. We have our full rotation, and since the idea is that this little battery right here is replaceable, once again, I need to draw it separately so that they can model it aside. I know, it's a tiny little thing, but I still have to do it. Now, on the inside, these buttons right here are supposed to be pushable, so I need to mention that. They have to be rigged to push in and out. Now, something that I want to talk about too is graphics and props. This can be stickers or graffiti or whatever. They just have to be included separately and in high quality. The reason for this is that modelers and painters can later on grab it and just slap it onto the model. So my advice is always design this in a separate canvas, high res, then copy paste it and add it onto the prop. Then you can paint over it and give it detail. See this little part right here? It's not fully visible. What it is or how did the cables connect. So what do? Bam, drawing that explains it. Simple. Alright, to start wrapping things up, material callouts. I think this is pretty self-explanatory but obviously needed to achieve the right look in the final product. It's just crucial. Doesn't really matter what images you use as long as they clearly show the kind of material that it is. And based on this, we would then add really technical stuff, callouts, such as highlights are generated from specular material and not textured in. This so the 3D artists know, well, what is what. Finally, always include a reference model. Usually the studio that you're working with will give you a reference that's probably gonna be like a character model or a hand model. However, you can also show size reference of the props in use, like for example with the mask being on top of my character right here. You can clearly tell how does it fit and how big it would be in relation to a face. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what you should be handing in to your art director or supervisor, depending obviously on what they asked you specifically. Make sure just to arrange it nicely because, presentation is key. So now to what you guys have been waiting for. How does my design look like in 3D? Boom! F***ing amazing. No, seriously, the artist did such an incredible job. In the message he sent me, as you guys can see, he was asking me how to do the tubes inside of the mask because they don't fit since the space seems so narrow. He's referring to these right here. My response was basically that this was on purpose and I knew that it was wrong. Sometimes the designs don't have to be perfectly calculated and make all the sense in the world as long as it looks somewhat believable. And this was my intention with the interior of the mask. I'm gonna be leaving the name and contact of the artist in the description as well in case anyone, wants to hire him. And there you go. That's mainly what you need to know to be a really good prop designer. Though if you are an experienced prop designer or 3D modeler and you want to drop in some more tips in the description or in the comments, that's fine by me. I'm sorry, I know I took my time again to upload this. It's just I was very busy. I promise you I was busy. Getting to Ascendant in Valorant. No, seriously. I had to move out and I am just getting settled in this new place. So hopefully I get to pick up the pace now and, upload more content. See you on the next one.